Alright, hello everybody, I'm DonTheCrown. This is the Game Balance and Ultimatum Manifesto. So I'm going to read through this real quick. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. So alongside every new league, we aim to make balance changes to a wide variety of character systems to improve build and playstyle diversity. In this league, we're focused on rebalancing a few specific game mechanics related to new blood-themed skills and ball skills, while lowering the power of specific mechanics that were dominating the metagame and were too far above the level of power we aim for. We've also made changes to the Atlas passive trees after reviewing their balance, and as a result of both Ritual becoming a core mechanic alongside the upcoming League reward changes. We haven't included the changes to League rewards described in our announcements here. Okay. So balance changes were related to the new life costing skills. Low life, low mana, and low energy shield now all count as being on 50% or below. This new threshold is both a bit more obvious at a glance and is large enough a value that players could survive for a long time on low life with the help of the new Petrified Blood skill. As a result, certain skills, passives, and items have been rebalanced to compensate. For example, the punishment's curse effect that causes monsters to take more damage while in low life has been reduced in power as it takes effect for a larger portion of the monster's life. We made similar changes to Assassin's Ambush and Assassinate, Passive, Infernal Mantle, and Replica Last Resort. The Blood Magic support gem has been split into 2 gems, as the lack of a damage multiplier made a poor choice for primary skills. Now each of these new supports is balanced for appropriate use case. I like that a lot. There are a small number of new passive clusters in the passive skill tree for generic physical damage, as well as physical damage over time multiplier to better support the new skills. Certain sources of bleeding damage and damage over time multi for bleeding have been changed to physical damage over time to allow them to apply to Corrupted Blood and the new Reap and Exsanguinate skills, or as we call it, Blark. These include the Gladiator's Gratuitous Violence passive and the Ascendant's Gladiator Notable. Not all bleed-related passives and modifiers on items have been changed, so a full bleed-invested build and a build using both bleeding and corrupted blood won't always look the same. Corrupted blood now never counts as bleeding damage, so reductions to bleeding damage taken no longer affect it. The Staunching Flask modifier and Pathfinder's Master Surge Notable now state that they apply to both bleeding and corrupted blood, so this is something that we already knew, but this is good. Corrupted Blood's damage has been rebalanced so it's more consistent between sources, so specific monsters that have had very high Corrupted Blood damage will no longer be as strong, while others that dealt almost no damage will be dealing a more noticeable amount. I think it's a really good change because you'll still be able to counter Corrupted Blood in all the old ways, but basically they're making it so that it's not going to murk you instantaneously, which it was doing before. Bladestorm now has a multiplier to bleeding damage while in Blood Stance, similar to Lacerate, to enable bleeding builds on the blood-themed skill. The Elder Influence weapon modifiers that grant a chance for poisons and bleeds inflicted with this weapon to deal 100% more damage have been removed. Whoa, dude. In their place, Elder Influence weapons can now roll a new local poison or bleed damage over time multiple modifier. The double damage chance modifiers were too multiplicatively powerful for these builds, providing power that only the modifier granted, so they've been changed to effect that is additive with other bleed poison multipliers. Well, there went I'm not sure how much that's going to affect those builds. I've never played them. That sounds pretty dang bad. And I typically make a lot of money every league selling axes and bows for those builds, so. Yeah, and it's on influence items, so it's even harder to get with harvest crafting. And yeah, it went from being like, yeah, it was a unique chase type of thing. Now it's gone. The way skills specify costs has been refactored. Skills now specify what resource they use. Consequently, stats can specify whether they affect all costs, reservations, or some combination. For example, the Righteous Decree Notable on Templar now reduces mana cost of skills, while the Tireless Notable affects all costs of skills. All skill costs. Some existing passive skills and items have been updated to affect all costs or reservations, but many effects are now resource specific where appropriate, like the inspiration support. These changes also open up new possibilities for alternative costs. For example, the Chainbreaker Keystone no longer removes rage on hit, instead adding a small rage cost to all skills, which would then be affected by skill cost modifiers. This allowed us to keep Chainbreaker functional with spells, while still losing rage when used alongside skills that don't hit, like damage over time spells. Interesting change. I'm wondering how much rage cost are we talking here? Interesting change, though. I'm glad that they're addressing that a little bit, because I feel like rage has been better for non-attack skills, but still, I don't know how to feel about it in general. As a major benefit of these skills, reservation skills no longer have an associated cost by default, so you don't need the current mana available to reserve a skill. And even when your mana is completely depleted, you can still enable an aura, making it easier to swap out auras or turn one on again if you accidentally disable it. That's pretty cool. Because of this, mind skills now have both a mana cost and a mana reservation. This means that modifiers to cost and reservation both affect their appropriate parts of mind costs, so Indigon no longer provides spell damage without affecting mind costs at all. Interesting as well. Looks like it's kind of a nerf to Indigon there as well. I'm not really sure how to read that. Does that break the champion thing with swapping to low life? I don't think that would break the champion thing with swapping to low life, as you would still knock yourself into low life. You just wouldn't, like, if you're already on low life and you can just reserve down on top of it. Atlas passive balance. We made a series of changes to Atlas passives for a variety of reasons. Certain modifiers provided more rewards than the average rewards granted by Atlas passives, so have had their chances of rewards lowered. Some are obvious ones, like high value targets or diplomatic escort, or other ones are more subtle, like Seance, which effectively added so much item quantity areas that was subtly boosting core drops like maps more than a single Atlas mechanic should. I mean, I called that Seance was really strong, right? But yeah, these were both really solid, right? This is the thing over in New Vestir, right? With what you call it? The big pylon thing, and then Harbinger, right? Legion, yeah, this was the Legion thing, if I recall correctly. Certain modifiers provided fewer rewards than standard rewards per point increase, and their chance or rewards increased. For example, the rewards from Invasion Exotic Good notables has been improved. Certain effects made more sense grouped together, like the Incursion passive saying all monsters in Incursions release magic, has been moved off Glennick Cairns to the existing time dilation modifier on Lex Ajoris. So Lex Ajoris is now completely focused on having more rewarding individual incursion runs, and Glennick Cairns focuses on creating the best possible temple. Nice. Ritual has been added to Haywork Hamlet with 2 notables available. It replaces Beyond There. Power Hungry no longer exists, and the per diem notable is moved to Glennick Cairns at slightly lower value, as the pun was too good not to keep. It's kind of funny that they added it's kind of funny to me that they added Ritual to Haywork Hamlet, because Haywork Hamlet was the region for Ritual League, and I wonder if that was part of the choice, right? So they moved the Beyond stuff out and then they moved Ritual things in. I wonder what they're going to be. Ball skills, and this being the only things that they've changed means that there's still some very strong options left. Vol skills. We made a balanced pass on damaging Vol skills, making them a more interesting choice relative to the Vol skills that provide ongoing buffs. We want damaging Vol skills in particular to have more reasons to be used by a larger variety of builds. The uptime of Vol skills has been improved via various means. Soul generation on unique monsters has been increased to 6 souls per 2% life lost, with a 1-second cooldown. This is twice as many souls as before. I like how they have to put this in here, because we have no clue how any of the mechanics work, because it's never ever described to us. It's just like, yeah, we know you guys don't have any idea how this works, so yeah. There's also kind of like a soft beyond buff, because you'll be able to get more souls as you like one-shot down unique beyond bosses. Damaging Vol skills have had their soul gain prevention times lowered relative to the duration of the Vol skill. For Vol skills that don't have a duration or ongoing effect, the soul gain prevention time is usually just 1 second. Yow, that's pretty good. Reduce the Vol soul cost and or increase the number of uses on Vol skills has relatively lower impact per use compared to other Vol skills. A balance pass has been made on all damaging Vol skills. Note in cases these have been buffs, except for Vol Righteous Fire, which now provides less damage to spells while active, and now sacrifices a larger amount of your total energy, shield, and life. It feels too easy for any spellcaster to use this skill to get significantly more spell damage for a long duration with very little downside. Note the fire damage over time aspect of the skill has been increased, keeping this attractive options for builds that focus on burning damage. So they finally decided to roll back their changes of the thing that the community's been like, yeah, this is ridiculous ever since they updated it. When did they actually patch this? I think they changed this in 3.3? Or it might have been updated in 3.4. So maybe Incursion or Delve Leagues. That's a long time, man, for this to be so ridiculous. We've introduced several new unique items and made adjustment to existing ones to either give higher uptime of Vol skills at some cost or allow you to utilize Vol skills more easily on builds that struggle to fit them in. Alright, skill balance changes. We made balance passes a large variety of skills performing above acceptable power levels, either through damage, speed of clearing content, or defensive benefits. These include Blade Vortex, no, Blade Blast, Toxic Rain, oh I'm sorry Smashley, General's Cry with channeled skills, I mean, yeah, Seismic Cry, yeah duh, Carrion Golem, and Vitality. Frostbomb and Wave of Conviction have had their exposure values lowered, as these skills provide too large of an elemental resistance reduction compared to other mechanics that have higher investment or penalties against bosses. Flesh and Stone now has a 35% mana reservation from 25. The defensive power of the skill in Stand Stance and the offensive power in Blood Stance was too high relative to other reservation effects. We've added a small reduction to Stance skill reservation cost on the Blood and Sand specialization cluster near the Duelist to bring the cost down slightly for appropriate builds. Vigilant Strike and his threshold jewel, the Vigil, have changed how they handle Fortify duration and the durations granted, so that the Vigil doesn't result in a very long duration Fortify effect, instead granting a shorter Fortify duration that has a high level Vigilant Strike. Vigilant Strike's base Fortify duration now scales with gem level rather than through increased Fortify duration stat. Previously, players could gain 30-second fortifies from 2 sockets in a single jewel, which was far too cheap for the defensive power offered. Divergent Berserk Alternative Quality now grants Berserk buff 0.25% more spell damage from 1%, the effect providing too much damage for spellcasters when paired with effects that increase gem quality from enhanced support. How about them spell nerfs? Cut it in quarter. I like that. I like that change a lot. I think this is a little bit bad. I kind of think that it's interesting though, because this is kind of like mostly a hardcore or support style thing, where basically you would weapon swap over and then get this going. Yo, Lighty, thanks for the Giga raid, my dude. I think everything, all the alerts turned off right now because we're kind of recording for YouTube. But thank you much, guys. We're just going through the manifesto. But yeah, I really like the Divergent Berserk This is a good change, IMO. IMO, very good change, because for the most part, when rage is more powerful for spellcasters than it is for attackers, that's really bad. And so I think this is a good change. I don't necessarily like this too much. I think that they could have cut it down so that it didn't affect your party anymore, or affect your party less. But I did think that it was kind of a cool playstyle in hardcore where you did kind of have to manage a lot of things, and I think that's kind of okay. General balance changes. It's all nerfs. It is all nerfs. Quivers of caster offhands. Critical strike chance, crit multi, damage over time multi, and chain modifiers on quivers now only apply to attacks or bow skills. The signal fire and Rigwall's Quill's unique quivers have had their physical damage added as fire and projectile forks modifiers changed to be with attacks only. Oh my god. Bows with a quiver could outclass many caster weapons for a variety of builds, so this change brings total offensive power to a more reasonable balance without removing the option entirely. Yeah, that's a little bit ridiculous. 1 second here. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. I kind of expected that, man. I kind of expected that. Caster bows, now legacy. People aren't going to be doing that, man. They basically like looked at the self-cursed bow build and was just like, this needs to go. Physical explosion body armors influence and synthesize modifiers that caused enemies killed to explode, dealing physical damage no longer have a 100% chance to apply. Their replacement modifiers grant enemies you kill have a chance to explode, dealing 1/10 of their life as physical damage, with a new lower tier influence mod being introduced that has a lower chance. This keeps the mechanic and opens up the possibility of stacking explode chance with high investment, but it will no longer reliably wipe out packs of monsters through a chain reaction of explosions. I'm totally gonna make a really great YouTube video about how this actually doesn't affect some builds. No, just throw that out there, man. Yeah, BB getting nerfed is kind of a little bit bad, I guess. But yeah, I think that my self-curse build will probably still survive this. But yeah, it's kind of bad, a little bad. Harvest monster life. The base life of all the harvest monsters was reduced by 30 to 50. But harvest machinery gives monsters around 100% increased life on average. What the heck does this mean? What does this mean? The base life has been reduced. Oh, this is a detonate dead nerf, right? So no longer can you get the big detonate dead dudes and then you just bring them around. No more crush claws for Zizarin, popping stuff off. Now you actually need to get good stuff. Now, I'm a little bit worried. I kind of want to like scroll down here. Okay. I didn't see anything that I really care about. So DD nerf. So harvest makes them have more life. The intention is no difficulty change, but harvest monsters created by the desecrate skill have life values more in line with other desecrated monsters in the game. This is address corpse explosion builds getting significant damage boost from having specters of specific harvest monsters. This strategy will still work, but the difference in monsters used won't be so significant. That's kind of interesting. You're laughing that there isn't any Archmage? I can see that. Hexproof. Modifiers that allow your hexes to affect hexproof enemies such as Cosprey will no longer allow your hexes to apply to yourself while you have hexproof, as you are not your own enemy. I'd like to speak to a manager. I most certainly am. I most certainly am my #1 enemy. Alright, never mind about the self-curse. I guess self-curse is done, guys. It's done. The sextant modifier, which granted players increased damage and movement speed for each poison on them, has been removed. Savvy players could run every map with this sextant effect applied, usually through fracturing specific maps and the harvest map enchantment that didn't consume sextant uses. With certain items that allow them to apply a large number of poison buffs to themselves, they could achieve extreme damage and movement speed with little investment. Yo, cute dog. Yo, is somebody called Cute Dog? Is he okay? Is he okay? Yeah, self-curse is completely gone now. Note, to partially compensate, as we believe self-poison is interesting playstyle, we've added a new unique item that retains the damage and movement speed per poison stacks. However, these stats will be capped at a specific value, like 5% increased damage. Fracturing fossils and beast splitting. Splitting items through beast crafting now applies a split tag to both items, similar to mirrored. Items that fractured fossils using them also gain the split tag. Oh my god! Oh my god, dude! Die, meta, die! Sorry, boy. We're about to take you back real quick. Beast splitting, fractured fossils, you were good. Deep Delvers, oh my god, I'm so sorry, Deep Delvers. Oh my god. Nothing personal, kid. Oh my god. This is a giga nerf. Giga freaking nerf, man. Especially because fractured fossils, like, rarely you get anything good out of it. At least now, oh my god. Imagine being the dude who in that one league had that mirror tier axe that then used a fractured fossil to mirror it for somebody. And then they like re-rolled their mirror tier axe and they had two garbage things, right? Yeah, this just means that 100% farming is going to be a lot harder to do, but you can still definitely do it. It just means that delirium orbs are going to be a lot more expensive as well. Remove the bonus mission chance from awakening at objective bonuses, as Atlas passives combined with this bonus and other mechanics resulting almost endless supply of missions. We decided to keep the Atlas passives at full strength and remove the awakening objective bonus so players have... What? Alright, so this is the first change I actually care about, and this is like terrible take. Terrible take. We've removed the bonus mission chance from awakening objective bonuses, as Atlas passives combined with this bonus and other mechanics were resulting in an almost endless supply of missions. We decided to keep the Atlas passives at full strength and remove the awakening objective bonuses so players have the choice to invest in more Atlas missions if they desire. That seems horrible. So it's like, oh, you want more Zana? You gotta do Zana Zone. You want more anything? You gotta do this specific thing. It's just this terrible take. I don't honestly think that having endless master missions being available is a bad thing. It's just horrible, right? Just horrible. It's whatever though. I guess the only time I've ever really ran out missions though is when I'm blasting alphas, right? It's when I'm blasting alphas. It's delirium item quantity and rarity. We've lowered and standardized the amount of item quantity and rarity granted by delirium fog, so they now give up to double the inbuilt item rarity of monsters and up to 50% of the item quantity of monsters. Double the inbuilt. This now caps out maximum depth rather than at 50% depth as was the previous case. Lower and standardize the amount of item quantity and rarity. Yeah, we don't actually know what this means at all. Because, like, honestly, this is a no note because we have no clue what these numbers are, right? We have no clue what this note actually means, but it seems like to me that this is a nerf on anything that's not 100% delirium. Wonder if Bleed Bow is still viable? Yeah, maybe. Passive tree changes. We're worried about how accessible normally scarce stats like area effect. We are wary about how accessible normally scarce stats such as AoE, skill effect duration, aura effect, and projectile speed are on cluster jewel notables, given you can stack multiple of the same notable on the passive tree. As a result, we have made small numerical nerfs to cluster jewels because, yeah. Did they nerf aura effect again? As a relatively minor ascendancy change, Pain Reaver has been replaced with new passive skill on Berserker, providing defensive benefits once you lose life from an enemy hit. It is designed as a high-risk defensive recovery mechanic, granting the faster leech rate from Pain Reaver more easily, but with an associated risk. The effects of Berserker's flawless savaging notable are no longer limited to attacks, and the small passives apply 10% increased physical damage instead of the old 12% increased physical damage with attacks. So, flawless savagery, if I recall correctly. Wait, what? Was this one, right? So it's critical strike chance for attacks and physical damage to attacks if you dealt a critical strike recently. And then Pain Reaver was this one? The Leech? I always like that node. But it's not a very great node. I think this would make Berserker Spellboy a thing. Immortal Ambition Keystone's Life Leech effects recover Energy Shield instead, while a full life stat is now limited by maximum total Energy Shield recovery from Life Leech instead of maximum total life recovery from Leech. Combined with the Corrupted Soul Keystone, the powerful recovery source of Life Leech provided too great of an increase to characters combined. What the heck is this wording? What does this even mean? What does this even mean? I don't even know. Corrupted Soul Keystone now causes you to gain 15% of maximum life as extra maximum energy shield from 20%. The Keystone allowed life-based characters to get a large amount of energy shield very easily, while the non-chaos damage taken bypasses energy shield stat didn't prove to be a significant downside for most builds taking the Keystone. As mentioned before, the Keystone for the Chainbreaker Keystone no longer causes you to lose 5 rage when you hit an enemy, but instead skills cost +3 rage. The Keystone allowed certain skills that either didn't hit as much, such as Bane, or skills that don't count as you, such as Totems and Mines, to completely bypass the downside. Hardened Scars no longer grants Fortify during the effect of any life flask. Instead, it grants Fortify while recovering life from a life flask. The notable was granting Fortify too easily to any character that can main Uptime on a hollowed hybrid flask with the Enduring prefix. That's a Kane's Minor, right? But yeah, the Chainbreaker thing, I'm kind of excited to see if we can work that into our builds now. The Necromancer's Essence Glut notable is that the amount of mana regenerated when you consume a corpse lowered from 8% to 4% because we definitely couldn't get through a nerf node without nerfing Necromancer. Primal Aegis from the Elementalist's Bastion Element skill now takes 75 damage per allocated notable passive. The Aegis effect went out too strong in the Elementalist rework. Interesting. There's some big nerfs in here. There's some big nerfs in here. But I didn't see this nerf. There's no champion nerf. I don't see Archmage. Didn't see anything recommending Steel or Impale. I didn't hear anything about Agnostic or Mind Over Matter. Are they gonna nerf Fortify somehow? Yeah, me too. But yeah, kind of interesting. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. That's I'm a little bit sad though. A little bit sad. This makes me sad. Rip the self-curse dream, man. Rip the self-curse dream. And that's removing damage reductions in the whole tree in the earlier patch was a bit big. Oh yeah, that one patch where they took out all of the damage reduction on the tree, and then they were like, oh, I mean, Chris, they weren't nerfing Headhunter. What a lie! It's just nerfed in a different way. But yeah, that's the manifesto. We have patch notes tomorrow. I'm pretty excited. If you like the video, come on and like, comment, and subscribe down below. And maybe join us over on Twitch. That's why they were fine with nerfing Headhunter to the general pool. They knew it fucked it over. Chris doesn't want Headhunter to get nerfed, but dev team strikes back with self-curse. Yeah. Yeah, my build's looking okay right now.